This is the story of an unfathomable horror that happened to four university students. At the same time, it is a mysterious event that leaves many mysteries unsolved. The mystery of the Black Woman. In the fall of my sophomore year, I, Takahashi, and my friends Sato, Tanaka, and Yamamoto gathered at Sato's apartment. This apartment, located near the university we four attended, was a two-story wooden building, built shortly after the war. The exterior walls were painted light green, but the paint had peeled off in places, revealing the texture of the wood. There were rows of ginkgo trees around it, and the golden leaves fluttering in the autumn breeze gave it a nostalgic atmosphere, and it was my favorite place. On that day, the four of us had gathered in this room for our manga research club activities. The room was about 6 tatami mats in size, and we had placed a low table on the tatami mats, which we used as our workspace. There were manga posters on the walls, and the bookshelves were full of manga volumes and illustration books. It was around 12 p.m. The four of us were quietly studying our manga, and the room was completely silent. Suddenly, we heard a loud bang from the window. Surprised, we turned to the window and saw a woman with a pitch-black face standing outside. By pitch black, I don't mean tan skin, but pitch black, as if her whole body had been painted with ink. I remember that her eyes were wide open, and the whites of her eyes stood out against her black skin. She clung to the window like a spider. We didn't have time to think about what she was, a ghost or a monster. I think we were all like, "What?" I held my breath and felt a shiver run through my entire body. Then the pitch-black woman slowly slipped away from the window, and then she clung to the window again with a bang. It felt like a pendulum. I don't know if that's the right word. It was like she was hanging from the top, and then she hit the window. It's hard to explain. Suddenly Tanaka yelled, "Oh!" and ran out of the room. I was also drawn to the scene. Sato and Yamamoto followed and ran down the stairs of the apartment. Yamamoto's slippers slipped and he fell down the stairs. I wanted to leave him there and run away, but Yamamoto held his stomach with one arm and shouted, "Wait!" So Sato and I gave him our shoulders and ran away. We hid in the first grocery store we saw. Tanaka had also taken refuge there before us. We talked about what was going on, but there was no answer, and we were too scared to go and check. After things calmed down a bit, everyone went home. Only Sato stayed at my house, while later, manuscripts, paints, bags, etc. were left in Sato's room. So about 3 days after the window van incident, I asked my friends from the rugby club and judo club to come with me, and we all went to get our belongings. Sato moved out after that. It seems that he left all the packing to a company and never set foot in the room. We talked about it for a while, but then Yamamoto fell down the stairs and broke his collarbone, which apparently damaged the nerves, and he couldn't move his left hand properly. He couldn't draw anymore and quit the manga club. Tanaka said it might be a curse and never talked about it again, and because of Yamamoto, Sato got busy looking for a job and other things. And somehow no one talked about that day. It's a long story, but that's the premise. At the end of February this year, about 15 years after I graduated from university, I ran into Sato again by chance. Sato was in charge of one of my company's clients. I hadn't seen him since graduation, so I was really happy. We went out for a drink after work, and the conversation turned to the window van incident. I wonder what that was all about. It was scary, we laughed about it, but something was strange. We basically experienced the same thing, but something is different. For example, the appearance of the woman. The one I saw had skin as black as ink and short, messy hair. His hair was so unkempt that it stood on end. I think he was wearing a sleeveless top and shorts or a mini skirt. His hands and feet were pitch black as well. What Sato saw was a middle-aged man with half of his face crushed. He was wearing emerald green work clothes. We both insisted that it was definitely not him. And the conversation went nowhere. I suggested, then let's call Tanaka and Yamamoto and see what they have to say. Sato said, No, Yamamoto wasn't there. I explained, don't you remember when Yamamoto fell down the stairs and couldn't walk? You gave him your shoulder and ran to the grocery store. But he said, the four of them definitely weren't there. To my surprise, Sato replied, No, it was you who fell down the stairs. Later we found out that you was in the hospital, and everyone from the manga club went to visit him. Apparently, a female member of the club had scribbled on his cast, and I had laughed and said, What are you going to do when your family comes to visit you later? Sato explained in such detail that it seemed impossible to lie or misunderstand. But I never broke a bone or was hospitalized. I later checked with my mother, and she said it was true. There were other small discrepancies. So I called Tanaka and promised to meet again. That happened last Friday. I had hardly seen Tanaka since graduation, so we had a great time reminiscing about the old days. Of course, Tanaka remembered the window bang incident. But what I saw was different from what Sato and I saw. Tanaka said it was just the head of a long-haired woman banging on the window. At first, he thought that the people upstairs were playing a prank by hanging a mannequin's head, but when he saw what he thought was a mannequin, it bared its teeth and grinned, and he was horrified. And at the same time, he remembered that there was no upstairs, and he ran out of the room. And he said that Yamamoto was definitely one of the members who was with him at that time, but no one fell down the stairs, and no one broke a bone. Sato replied, No, you were the first one to run out of the room. So you wouldn't know if someone fell down the stairs, to which Tanaka replied, I was the last one to go out. He said that the moment they heard a bang on the window and saw the woman's neck, the other three people ran out of the room rather quickly. Tanaka thought it was a mannequin at that point, so he was shocked and said, Wow, you're too scared. They all remember meeting at a grocery store, but the way they handled it after that was different for all three of them. In Sato's memory, they all went to get their luggage and manuscripts with trepidation and resumed writing at Tanaka's house. In Tanaka's memory, he shared a room with his older brother, so he never let anyone into his room during his 4 years of college. That was a promise he made to his older brother. After the window bang incident, everyone went home. Sato brought his luggage and manuscripts the next day. It doesn't make sense because all three of them have different memories. Maybe it was so long ago that they have forgotten? But after that incident, when we talked about who that person was, we all agreed that it was a short-haired, pitch-black woman. Sato and Tanaka agreed. You were talking about a middle-aged man wearing work clothes, right? Sato said, and Tanaka replied, No, we all thought it was a woman's neck. Sato also speculated that it might be the ghost of a woman who hanged herself. Neither of them would give in. Let's call Yamamoto and check it out, they said, but we couldn't meet because of scheduling conflicts. But when I brought it up on the phone, Yamamoto said, I have no recollection of such an experience. I don't think I was there that day. It was such an intensely frightening event. I have absolute confidence in my memory because I can't forget. But I'm sure Sato and Tanaka are the same. Why did such a discrepancy occur was the only mystery that remained. This mysterious event left a deep puzzle in the hearts of the three of them. Were they really seeing the same thing? Or did each person experience a different horror? Was it a memory that changed over time, or was there some other factor? How do you interpret this mystery? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you have had a similar mysterious experience, please share it with me. Until next time. If you like horror stories, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye.